Hello coin collectors out there, welcome back to the Big D Coins channel. Hopefully everyone is having a great day. In today's video we are going to talk about the 1941 Mercury Dime, which I've got 3 of them, 1941 Washington Quarter, which I've got 3 of those as well, and the 1941 Walking Liberty. Now what do all 3 of these coins have in common? They all have silver in them. So that automatically increases the value of the coin. There's great appeal to any coin from the US that has silver in it, and I guess any silver in general. So we'll get into the mintages of these coins, the silver content and the melt value, and any varieties or errors that were made in 1941. Before we get into that, I want to revisit this coin right here that I talked about in yesterday's video. And the YouTuber who sent me this actually pointed out a rather cool feature that I forgot to mention, so I want to add that on to today's video. If I make any mistakes or errors in the videos, feel free to let me know in the comment section, and I can always add it on to the next video or one of the following videos. So I'm going to zoom in on this one right here. It's a $2 Canadian coin that was dated 2017, part of their 150th anniversary series, and the name of this coin is the Northern Lights. And I'm going to kill the actual lights that I've got going right here, a couple of lamps, and take a look at it. Notice anything special? This light blue, green, teal part right here is actually glow in the dark. So it's very, very cool that the Canadian Mint had the creativity to put some glow in the dark features on their Northern Lights coin. Now, I have seen some glow in the dark stuff out there from United States coin, but it doesn't come to you directly from the mint. It's kind of a post mint mark damage that people apply to the coins. But this one right here actually comes to you from the Canadian Mint with some very cool glow in the dark features to it. So that'd be something I'd love to see on United States commemorative coins. That'd be really sweet. So thank you for pointing that out. I've got a lot of great feedback on this video, on the previous video about these commemorative coins right here, which were dated 2015 to 2017. Everyone seemed to really, really like the designs of them, so hopefully more videos like that to come. Now back to the basics of US coins right here. Let's start with the Mercury Dime. So the 1941 Mercury Dime, as you'll notice in this video, all of these coins come to you are circulated. So they've got some wear and tear to them, and they will the price of the actual coin will vary greatly depending on the grade, but all of them will have a certain floor to them as far as the grade of the coin goes, and that is their silver melt value. So at the least, you should be able to get the silver melt value worth for these particular coins. Now the Mercury Dime was made from 1961 until 1945. It is 90% silver, 10% copper. The downside to it is these coins don't weigh very much at all. As you can see, they're pretty thin, like regular United States dimes, and they don't have much of a diameter to them. So they've only got a total weight of 2.5 grams. So if you take 90% silver multiplied by the 2.5 grams times today's silver price, and that gives you a melt value of about $1.02 for these coins. Now, as far as the mintages of these coins, there are a decent amount of them that were produced. There are 175 million that were made at the Philadelphia, an additional 45 million at the Denver, and 43 million at the San Francisco. One of the most notable errors associated with 1941 Mercury Dime is actually the 1942 over 1941 Mercury Dime. Now, PCGS has this on their website, as well as the Cherry Picker's Guide has it mentioned in their book as well. And interestingly, PCGS has graded 444 1942 over 1941 regular strike coins, and those have a price guide of $625 each. And as far as their survival guide and estimate, they estimate that 3,500 have survived at the regular strike in all grades, 200 at mint state 60 or better, and just 30 at mint state 65 or better. Now, when I say regular strike, what that means is they don't have the full bands designation on the back. So you can still have a highly graded coin, a highly graded Mercury Dime, without the full bands designation. Now, the full bands designation comes when you can see these bands going horizontally across the dime. Now, the reason why you could have a highly graded coin that doesn't have that full bands designation is because maybe the die that was used to press the coin itself was worn out and it didn't really implement all the details that you'd like to see on a fully struck coin. Think of the full steps associated with the Jefferson nickel. If you think of the full steps and you apply that same kind of theory to the Mercury dime, that gives you the full bands designation. So check out the reverse of your Mercury dime and see how much has worn out on this part of the coin right here, and that will be a good indication as to the value of your coin. Now, as far as the super high-end regular strike Mercury dimes, a Mint State 60, let's see what they've got. A Mint State 67 PCGS has graded 0 of those, but one actually sold at an auction for $15,950 that was graded by another company. The highest graded PCGS regular strike is a Mint State 66, and most recently in 2016, one of those sold at auction for $14,100. Now, there's currently some NGC ones that are selling right now as well. So if you're real into the high grade Mercury dimes, if you've got a lot of money to spend, unlike me, I've got these kind of worn out ones, but you can always buy these online or at a coin auction if you've got that kind of cash. Now let's move on to the Washington quarter. I've got 3 of them and they are worn out, as you can imagine. So this one up top is probably my best graded one that I've got right here. Now, it's not graded, but if it were to be graded, it would get a much higher grade than this one right here. As you can see, let's compare these two side by side. This one right here, it's got all of the details going around the outside. This one right here, the edge of the coin is actually just so worn out. Now, keep an eye out for Washington's hair if you want to see where your coin will wear and tear the easiest. When you flip them over, the mint mark will be located right down here. So when we get into the error coins, keep your eye out for what yours has for a mint mark. If yours is lacking a mint mark, like these two on the right, that means it's from the Philadelphia Mint. So as far as the mintages for the 1941 Washington quarter, there are 79 million made at the Philadelphia, 16 million at the Denver, and an additional 16 million at the San Francisco. Now, the melt value of these coins, as you can imagine, it's much higher than the Mercury dimes that we were talking about. It's about 2.5 times higher. So these coins are 90% silver, just like the Mercury dimes. The remaining 10% is copper. However, they have a weight of 6.25 grams. So that gives them a total melt value based on the current silver prices of about $2.69. So if you pay 25 cents for these, you can pick these up. If you get lucky at your local bank, you'd buy them at face value for 25 cents and then be able to flip them for about $2.50, maybe more depending on the grade of your coin. Now, I'm looking at the Cherry Picker's Guide to Rare Die Variety Coins, and they've actually got 8 that are listed for 1941. I'm not going to get into all of them, but some of the cooler ones that don't really get talked about as much, that you won't see with other coins, is that for 1941 we've got a double die reverse that actually occurs on the eagle's beak. Now, I'm curious to see if anyone has ever heard of doubling occurring on the eagle's beak before, but in 1941 there is some doubling on the eagle's beak. The Cherry Picker's Guide has a Mint State 65 valued at $85 for that variety. Now, with 1941, the Cherry Picker's Guide also points out some errors related to the 1941 S, large versus small mint marks. So 2 of the 8 that they've got documented in their guide have errors associated with the 1941 SS, large versus small mint mark. So the large S mint mark with triangular lowest sheriff is the same as the large S found on the 1941 large S nickels. So it appears they used some of the mint marks from the nickels. Those made their way onto Washington quarters. Obviously, that probably wasn't intended to happen, but curious as to how those mint marks from nickels got over to the quarters. And now, finally, in this series, this one right here, the biggest, heftiest coin of them all. This one has a decent weight to it, and it's worth about double the price of the quarter that we were looking at earlier based on its melt value. So this coin right here has a weight of 12.5 grams. You might not have seen this before. This is the Walking Liberty quarter. This was made from 1916 until 1947. It's got a weight of 12.5 grams, 90% silver again, the remaining 10% copper. That gives it a melt value of $5.14 based on its silver content alone. Now this one will sell for much more of a premium than that $5 based on the fact that these are of interest to coin collectors as well. Now the Cherry Picker's Guide doesn't really mention anything special regarding the 1941 errors, so we'll just skip over that entirely. I'll get you the mintages and then we'll start to kind of wrap up what we talked about today. So there are 24 million of these produced at the Philadelphia, 11 million at the Denver, 8 million at the San Francisco. So as you would imagine, lower mintages on this $50 than what we're looking at with the 1941 Washington quarter and the 1941 Mercury Dime. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you're into coins, please do check out some of the other videos on this channel. Any errors or anything I might have messed up or anything else to add, feel free to let me know in the comment section. Thank you very much, everyone, and best of luck coin collecting out there. Enjoy!